Okay, here I am on Stave Lake, British Columbia, Canada. There's a lot of logging activity here. The water in this bay actually is muddy. It's quite a large lake for Canada. Nothing like the Great Lakes, but for British Columbia it's one of the larger ones. And it's a little bit larger than Pitt Lake or Alouette Lake that I usually film at. It's a man-made lake, and this one is all clear cut. Starting around 1907 to 1920, maybe a little bit after that, to make this. Basically, it's a reservoir, what they call it Stave Lake. The reason it's called Stave Lake is because the wood was good for barrel staves. They built barrels up here out of the wood to store salmon, which were plentiful in this area at the time. And they put the salmon in the stave barrels, let's call them, and then shipped them to places like, especially Hawaii, that love the lomi salmon. So anyway, I didn't know that driving 50 miles up this lake from Vancouver would be so crowded and noisy and busy, but you never know. Here it is. I guess the Canadians are finally enjoying the sunshine. There's nobody around me. There's bears and big cougar tracks right near me. I'm keeping an eye on bears. I'll probably see several today. This is about the northernmost point that you can go. The gate is locked just above me, so you can't actually drive any further, and the road starts getting pretty rough here. So this is where all the bears come in, and this would include the brown bear. I don't see any right now, but again, they usually come out a little later and in the night. Oh, coincidentally, black bear with two football-sized cubs tore open our garbage can last night, and I had to spend the morning cleaning up the garbage, despite having a bungee cord on the top to try and prevent that. But the mother was able to get her snout in the crack in the lid, and there you go, she pulled out the whole trash bag. Okay, my lecture today is printed in the Minneapolis Tribune. Okay, Minneapolis Tribune, the Star Tribune, Sunday, March 11th, 1984. And it's entitled, "Well, did E.T. get good medical care?" E.T. could have sued for malpractice, but he went home instead. Gentle, good, and lovable E.T. didn't even contact a lawyer after he almost died on this planet in 1982. But some medical experts now think he probably had a good case against the doctors who treated him in Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Seriously, real-life doctors are making a big fuss over this type of treatment that E.T. received. Some emergency medicine specialists think that doctors in the movie not only have failed to recognize that E.T. could have been suffering from a drug overdose, but they apparently neglected a basic procedure taught to first-year medical students. A debate on the subject has been carried on for more than a year in the letters column of the Medical Monthly Annals of Emergency Medicine. In the February issue, Dr. Alexander Lampone of St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, California, the actor doctor who headed the medical team, that leaded to the creature defended his actions, but he did indicate some uncertainty, noting, well, how do you know what to give an alien from space? If they had been sued by E.T., Lampone and his team certainly would have done a novel defense. They say they did everything their colleagues claim they failed to do, but it actually was director Spielberg who endangered their professional reputations by editing out many of the most important steps in the battle to save E.T.'s life, they claim. It is an ancient lament in Hollywood that the actor's best performance was left on the cutting room floor. But at doctors, frankly, a spokesman for Spielberg said, on something like this, I wouldn't have the faintest idea whom to refer you to. Why all of this is relevant today is testimony more to the glacial pace of medical journal communication than to anything else. But criticism of E.T.'s medical care has been quietly and slowly, if facetiously, building up. It began in August 1982 at a medical symposium on rare poisoning cases, continued in the correspondence columns of the medicine journal a year later, and came to a head in the February issue. The debate pits Lampone against a prominent Los Angeles emergency physician, Dr. Jonathan Wasserberger, Dr. Richard Weissman, director of the New York City Poison Control Center, and this guy, Dr. Gary Ordog, the colleague of Wasserberger's at Martin Luther King Jr. General Hospital. I wonder who that is. Oh, that's me. Okay, E.T.'s physicians, said Wasserberger, Weissman, and Ordog, made so many mistakes when they tried to resuscitate the poor creature that they almost killed him in the process. For one thing, the E.T. team failed to ask Elliot, his young human friend, just when the stricken creature had been eating in the days before the attack. If the doctors had asked, Elliot could have told them that E.T. had liberally consumed Coors beer and corn chips, a diet that almost certainly resulted in a potentially catastrophic glucose deficiency. Because the doctors did not ask, they never began emergency intravenous therapy to correct the dangerous interruption in his blood sugar levels, whatever they normally should have been. Worse still, E.T.'s doctors completely overlooked the fact that his pupils were constricted and his skin, if that's what you can call it, was turning bluish in the unmistakable first signs of cyanosis, a sign he wasn't getting enough oxygen. Together, those symptoms should have warned the physicians that E.T. was the victim of a narcotic overdose. That doesn't mean E.T. was a junkie, the dissident doctors added. E.T.'s bizarre physiognomy. Alright, that's a good one. Probably resulted in his manufacturing massive amounts of opiate-like natural chemicals. Humans do essentially the same thing on a smaller scale in the manufacture of natural pain-relieving chemicals called endorphins. Planes coming by, motorcycles and speedboats. Wow. It's like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, I haven't seen any bears yet. And mountain lions, there's big tracks over there. Let me take a quick look. I don't see any. Let me know if they're sneaking up behind me, okay? Thank you. But E.T. probably produced such large quantities of natural narcotics that when his body tried to compensate for the physiological trauma of being abandoned on Earth, he essentially overdosed himself. His doctors missed that, though, and lost an opportunity to pump him full of a substance called a narcotic antagonist to ward off the potentially fatal effects of his do-it-yourself drugs. the doctor's charge. That would have been quite a trick just by itself, one of the critical physicians said. E.T.'s metabolism plus his handy proclivity to make his own opiates probably meant that while a human might require 25 doses of narcotic antagonist to blunt the effects of a possibly fatal overdose, E.T. might have needed 300. E.T.'s doctors joined the fray in February issue, writing, "I am pleased that our editors did not go unnoticed by those with knowledge to judge and evaluate the scene." Then, having dismissed virtually all the deficiencies in E.T.'s care by using the Spielberg cut it in the editing scenario, Lampoon seems to conclude that it does not matter since the patient survived anyway. Specifically, Lampoon asserted that he and his colleagues gave E.T. several doses of naloxone, a common narcotic antagonist, and he said that, contrary to the allegations against him, little Elliot, the boy's family, and friends were quizzed on E.T.'s eating habits. As to the dosages, he said, well, how do you know what to give an alien from space? His heart arrested and we were going to give him electrical shocks. But if you shock someone with crystalline skin, how do you know it's just not going to crack them open? Besides, Lampoon said, you can rest assured that E.T. received the very best care. God was on our side and E.T. lives. He'll be back. Spielberg won't settle for second best for his alien. Spielberg is that kind of guy. Okay, thank you. That's the whole article read to you by Dr. Gary Ordog, as mentioned in the article and as mentioned in the credits of the E.T. Extraterrestrial movie. So I will put up the article so you can look at it. If you want, you can get it from newspapers by Ancestry.com. Again, it was printed Sunday. Headlines, March 11th, 1984, based on the movie Extraterrestrial, E.T. by Steven Spielberg, which was released in 1982. Okay, I hope that adds some humor and insight and education to your day. Here I am again on the Stave Lake in British Columbia, Canada. And I believe this is just an open logging area. The water behind me is very muddy from logging activity. But on the way up here I noticed some very nice places that I would like to swim in when it gets a little warmer. It's still a little cool. The air is warm, but the water's cold. I wouldn't swim right here with all the logging debris in the water. And probably a lot of bacteria stirred up from the moving of the earth, etc. Okay, have a good day, have a good life. Watch E.T. again if you forget some of the story, especially the medical aspects of it. Very interesting, very controversial. I will be reading more of these articles. There were approximately 100 articles published after the movie based on the medical treatment, which I call and named exomedicine. That's the treatment of beings from not of this earth, so from outer space, from other planets, other solar systems, other galaxies. That would be called exomedicine, EXO medicine. Okay, and that's a term I coined some years ago. I published on it, and we do discuss that when needed. And it seems to be more relevant today with the U.S. government admitting aliens, space aliens exist, UFOs exist, and the numbers of UFO sightings even by the US military, is increasing exponentially, it seems. And they cannot explain it. Even President Obama could not explain it. And he did admit to it as well. Okay, again, Obama's seen the Black Book in the Library of Congress with all the secrets and conspiracy theories answered. So he should know if anybody does. But he said he did not know the answer. But he also said that he was neither able to confirm nor deny that space aliens are on Earth disguised as humans. So that may tell you something right there. Okay, end of this dictation. On to the next. Thank you very much. Subscribe to Gary Ordog channel. Press thumbs up if you like it. Hopefully you like it, or comments if you don't. And we'll get on to the next one. Thank you.